This box is roughly the size of what I stuck in your mom last night.
First off, fuck your bitch in the clique you claim. West side, when we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player.
Welcome back to the worst channel in all of YouTube. I'm DipperGames420, and today we're going to be taking a look at the last of the 2022 SDCC event exclusives I could be bothered to get, because Shenron is a waste of money in my mind. That aside, here's Buu. Here's one of the exclusives from last year. He was $80, I think. That's really all I have to say about him. And this time around, I'm honestly not even gonna bother with the box because it's fucking massive. Like, look at this fucking thing compared to my hand and try to tell me that it's even remotely worth the effort trying to show you all of this thing. So yeah, that out of the way, let's get Buu out of the box. So now that we have Buu out of his fucking enormous box, let's take a look at the only two comparisons I could be bothered to take out for this video. Here he is, standing next to the only other two San Diego 2022 exclusives I gave a fuck about: Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Android 16. I don't have the original, which is why you see this one standing before you now. Let's move on to his paint and sculpt. Since Buu here is morbidly obese, yeah, it's gonna be very, very difficult to get Tubby here on screen, but I will do the best that I can. So his face is pretty good. I mean, it's a simple face. I don't know how you fuck Majin Buu up, but it's pretty decent. From what I've seen of the original, the lines on his face are slightly more pronounced on the exclusive. The rest of his head looks fine. From what I've gathered, the cape is slightly more of a reddish purple, where the original is more of a bluish purple. The vest is pretty nice, has a glossy metallic finish to it. I don't believe the original had this, so that is nice. His man boobs are shaded, so if you ever wanted to see gloriously shaded man boobs, here you go. The shading around his waist from the original is gone, but it already casts a harsh enough shadow as it is, so yeah, most of the time it's not noticeable. The pants are nicely shaded. There's a lot of very good line work all throughout, so that's nice. The M is big and pronounced. There's a nice golden sheen to it. Kinda wish the glossy finish from his vest applied to his belt, but whatever. Consistency was never Tamashii Nation's strong suit. And we have the only other real difference worth noting here. His gloves and his boots are now of more of a, I guess, a SpongeBob yellow, more like a pure yellow, where the original was more of an orangey yellow. And there is also a glossy finish on these. Plastic feels a little sticky. Not necessarily gummy or cheap, just kind of sticky from the finish. And you also have the cape. This was a pain in the ass to put together, and as it stands, I can already tell this is not the right order these pieces were supposed to be put together in, but I don't give a flying fuck. I already had to drill the 3 peg holes on his back for this thing to go in. So yeah, that's wonderful quality control there. But the cape at least looks alright. It's segmented as all hell, but it's shaded, and the sculpt work that is there is good despite being broken up. But that about does it for the paint and sculpt of Fat Albert over here. Let's move into his accessories. So taking a look at Buu's accessories, you get the evil grinning face, and a happy face with his tongue out. You also get his pointing finger hands, a pair of relaxing or chocolate holding hands, and you do get a chocolate bar. All of his accessories look good. I know some people think that he came with the alternate head where he was turning someone into chocolate, and also came with the effect part for that. No, that was DLC that came with Super Buu. But that about does it for this segment. Let's move on to the articulation. So, showing as much of Fats McGee's articulation as I possibly can. His head swivels from side to side, goes up on his neck mostly because the ball hinge is utterly worthless. Pretty solid ab crunch. It's literally just the one joint doing it, but it does a good job nonetheless. His shoulder is very tight, but it does go up pretty decently. Full 360 out of the bicep, double joint at the elbow, single ball peg wrist that gets some pretty good pivot and a swivel. The cape, as tedious as it was to put together, you get 3 hinges for it that all move individually. I don't get what the point of this was, but okay, it's cool enough, I guess. His legs can spread out if they want to. Okay, this one is stuck. Yeah, I'm not forcing that one any farther, but yeah, you get a pretty decent side kick. Pretty well hidden thigh swivel, double joint at the knee. Pretty worthless ball joint at the ankle, but it gets the job done decently enough. Get a toe hinge, and the ankle can go that far down and that far up. So that about does it for Buu. Let's move on to my final thoughts on him. Moving into my final thoughts, and kind of quickly getting through them because my nose is actively bleeding. Yeah, this is a pretty decent figure. It's not much better or worse than the original, so I'd imagine the original is slightly better QC-wise than this one, but overall, it's alright. It's not the greatest figure I've ever held, but it certainly gets the job done, and I think this is probably the best figure of Majin Buu you can get, at least in this form. So yeah, if you have the money and you don't already have the original, then this one gets the job done. Me personally, I'm probably going to stick with this one because I don't already own the original, and since this one is basically the same thing, just with a slightly different paint job, I think I'm good. But in any case, this has been Nick Games 420. I'm going to go tend to my nosebleed now, and I will see you guys next time.